and welcome back to the channel, guys. We have top five saddle hunting mistakes for you here today.
As always, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you do like this type of content. Do you make these top 5 mistakes in the saddle? Comment below if you do. Let's get into it.
Or don't, but I bet you do.
Worth it. Found you an arrow.
Oh, dude, let's go! I've been looking for this bad boy.
Let's talk about adjustability and comfort. My first year, I would say my biggest mistake also was I wasn't very comfortable. I remember even you last year, for a while, you weren't even a fan. And some of that has to do with just getting used to it, but I think a lot of it has to do with not adjusting to your needs. Okay. So we have a couple different saddles.
Yep.
The Latitude. This thing is old. I think it's like an Arrow Hunter. I don't even know what it is. I got it from a buddy at work. But they have different ways to adjust. There's a lot of adjustments you can do to relieve like hip pinch, where the pressure points are, how your bridge affects you, how much you stand up, how much you lean back, your feet, soreness. So if you're not comfortable, I mean, you gotta think of like, even just sitting in a normal tree stand, you're not gonna be, after so long, you're tired of sitting. Yeah. Like this, even if you feel really comfortable when you first get started, after an hour or two you can be like, okay, I'm not comfortable anymore. So we're going to show you some ways you can adjust your saddle to change up those pressure points. It's just going to feel a little bit different. It'll help you last longer up in the tree. This Latitude one, this got the cool feature of the butt magnets. Why don't you show us that booty?
Show us the booty.
So what's nice is there you can have it all the way up, walking in, getting in the tree, getting set up. Even if, you know, that's comfortable for you to start, it's gonna be a different weight. You can drop it down. And the more you move it down, the different position it's gonna give you sitting there, swinging, it's gonna feel different. And so after a little while you can adjust it. Can't you adjust that one even more down too? You can basically turn into like a swing if you want to.
And adjust it even more. You can move your back up. I mean, I'm basically in a chair right now.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm in a chair. I have a back support, I have butt support. The 2 panels are super nice.
Yep.
If I had knee pads, this would feel a little more comfortable, obviously, but it will be with me in the tree. So it's all about, when you're saddle hunting, if you're not moving, number one, you're going to feel it after a couple hours. You're going to hate your life.
Right.
And then it's about moving your saddle and the adjustability. You move these. Yeah, whichever way you move these.
So your bridge, yep.
Whichever way you move your bridge up or down is going to give you pressure on your feet or on your hips more. Yeah,
and like the back of your legs.
Yeah.
And what's important is like, yeah, you like it in the middle right now for a couple hours, but then maybe you need to relieve some of that pressure, so you move it up for 20 minutes, you move it down for 20 minutes, and then you go back where you like it. So there's ways to maintain your comfort and just squeeze out a little bit extra time in the saddle.
And it's the same thing with the platforms. Like, you look at the platform, I have the X-Wing. I mean, for me, I could be sitting like this, but, you know, maybe I need my feet to give me a little rest. I'm just going to stick my feet right in these corners.
Yep.
And just kind of let my calves stretch in a way. I can literally do a calf stretch right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's great.
A couple other things too you can do is there is this adjustability on some saddles right here, and this is going to adjust basically how much cupping you kind of get under your butt, and so gives you that same feel where the Latitude one pulls down and gives you that more like chair action. This kind of not nearly as good, but it gives you some of that. You can feel the pressure change in your thighs and your butt and your hip. And so that's a lot of times when I'm in the saddle, I'm just, hey, what adjustment can I make to give myself a little bit of relief from wherever it's hurting? And just mess around, figure out what your body likes the most. So sometimes, usually I loosen this up, loosen the belt up, and I try to sink it down here so I get more of that seat kind of, and boom, man, it just takes a lot of pressure off up here.
Yep.
Secondly, your bridge, especially most saddles are coming with an adjustable one. If yours doesn't, you can build one of these yourself. You can buy it, Prusik knot, whatever, and get this adjustable bridge. So normally I would do it with my lineman's belt back on the tree, but you can take pressure off of your tether and adjust your bridge length. Longer, shorter. The shorter it is, the more hip pinch it's going to give you. So generally I have it pretty long, but also too long and it's going to put pressure somewhere else. So you got to find that happy medium, but it's another adjustment you can make. It's just changing that. The length of your, how far you are going to be from the tree with your tether. That's why having this rope man is awesome, because now it takes a lot of pressure off of like my back, my hips. I'm standing. I'm basically just standing here. After 20 minutes, my feet are going to be like, ugh. So we can drop back down, put more pressure back on your hips, on your butt, and take some of that foot pressure off. The difference of a platform kind of compared to the X-Wing's solid, I think most have them, but this is a tethered one. In it, you can adjust the pitch of it up and down. And so a lot of people I notice have this saddle or this platform like basically level with the tree. That's not comfortable, at least not for me. I have mine all the way down because I want this to be as much of the 90-degree angle as possible.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, even a slight angle is going to make a difference in the long run. I mean, for last year was my first time getting into saddle hunting. I would say it probably took me, I don't know, most of that first month, if not the year, really, to really feel like I got in my groove, to make sure I was adjusting, make sure I was comfortable. At first, like, truthfully, I remember I basically texted Jay and I was like, I don't know how much I like it.
Well, this sucks.
Yeah, and it just took time. Once you get it, you get it. But yeah.
Packing up your stuff, I would say.
Oh yeah.
That's on the list. So, I mean, step one, get your tree tether. This was my first climb of the year, so that ended up being step number 4 or 5 for me. It should have been step 1. Still have your lineman's belt on, get your tree tether on, get into the tree. A lot of times I leave them both on until I'm set up, to be honest, just because I'm a little bit of a wuss when it comes to that. So tree tether on, then strap, get all your stuff hung up, get your camera on if you're filming, get everything basically ready to go. I usually, even as soon as my bow is on, if I'm hunting, I knock an arrow, put my release on. Then I start packing things up. I get things organized. You're already making a bunch of noise, doing everything you're doing. I get my snacks ready, I get my phone ready, I put my bag away, I put all my ropes away. So what happens if you don't put your ropes away?
Well, if you don't put your ropes away, you're left with a couple things. Number one, this is on the other side of my body, but I left this out for a couple reasons. First time climbing up, I did not hook my carabiner up to my bow hoist, so I kind of just have it in my pocket and it's just hanging there. Yep. And as I'll put it in on the video screen right here, what you're seeing right now is a bow string that I use with one of my Amsteel Steps ropes, and I forgot to put it away.
Last year, right?
Last year. And I ended up missing a deer, missing a good 8-pointer, because I didn't realize it was swinging at the bottom, and he caught me as I was moving, getting ready to shoot.
Yeah. And
so you'll also see, hopefully, if I can find them, the texts in between us two saying, I'm an absolute idiot. So don't do what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quick story of it is essentially I pulled back, no way he was going to see me the whole time. And all of a sudden, when I went to move my body, he saw that at the bottom swinging, and he just looked straight up.
Yep.
And I don't even know if he was looking at me, but he knew enough that he was on edge. I didn't aim low enough, he ducked the arrow. So, yep, shame on me.
We got ducked twice last year.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
It's actually a good opportunity for anybody that's watching the video. I want to hear, one, if you missed a deer because you did something stupid like me,
yep.
Or two, what have you found different solutions than us? Yeah.
So we have
adjustability.
Adjustability.
We just did making sure your ropes are put away.
Oof, packing everything up. And you kind of hinted at one of our next one, which is just having a routine.
Yep.
A very like systematic approach, being consistent.
Which I'm gonna let the biggest OCD guy here talk about a systematic approach to saddle hunting.
I'm very particular, and I think that it makes a smoother transition always up and down the tree, and it's worked for me. So I put everything away in the order that when I get up to the tree, it's gonna be boom, this, 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 and this. So I make sure my tether's on top of my strap. I make sure that my sticks are in order. I make sure my platform strap is the first thing on the thing, and everything is in order. And then as I'm coming down, I pack it up in that exact same order. And every time I go to the tree, it's the same way up, same way down. When I set up, normally, I'm in the groove. Today was different. Everything goes on the tree the same way, and then it comes off the tree the same way. So when I pack it up and everything's nice and neat, it's packed in my backpack, it's packed in my pouches, it's just gonna make for a much easier climb and descent. And then the next time, it's gonna be easier going up. Having that routine, I think, is one of the biggest keys to saddle hunting. Because you do have more gear. Like, there's perks to a tree stand, and there's a lot of people that think tree stand hunting is better than saddle hunting. I go either way. If you're wearing a harness, and you're wearing a harness, like my opinion is I'd just rather be in a saddle. I've had fun doing this. But tree stands are just fine too. You do have more stuff. You have more ropes. You have more ropes around your sticks, depending on what sticks you have. You could have a lot of different things, so you gotta stay organized. The tethered ones are cool because they have the am steel that's built on there and you wrap around them. Before that, I had some other sticks where all the straps were separate. And so I had kept the straps in one pouch, and you just have a, you can do that. Just make sure you have a very good organizational strategy, and it's the same every time. Figure out what works and stick to it. It'll make your life so much easier, especially if you're new to this game and you're just learning. Dumb it down, do the same thing over and over. Find something that works, do it. Okay, so we've hit on comfortability, huge. Systematic approach, packing up your stuff, they kind of go together. Part of that too, and you know, this was really part of it, but we'll call it number 4, is your movement. And I think that's one of the biggest changes from going to a normal tree stand scenario to this, is you are free. You are in a swing, and I don't care what anybody says, you're moving more than a tree stand. I mean, do you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. Even as you were talking, I'm literally adjusting the way I'm sitting. But in a saddle, you are naturally going to move your body more. Especially, but you're sitting in a tree stand, it's a chair. You're not moving your lower half for the most part. You can only move your lower half in a tree stand so far. You're just gonna move your feet. But when you're in a saddle, who knows? You're gonna move side to side. You're gonna just naturally move your arms. I don't know.
I do this all the time. I stand up. I do this. I think back to the tree stand days, and I was sitting there on my phone. I'd be leaning into the tree. I would stand up for like a few minutes if I had to stretch, and then I'd sit back down.
Yep.
And you're right next to the tree, kind of like this, but reverse. That movement's disguised better than being out like this too. So I would say that's one of like the biggest knocks of saddle hunting that people that don't saddle hunt say is you're gonna get busted because you do move more. And I actually agree with it for sure if you're not smart about it. So you'd have to just start to consciously think about it more. And when you do need to make those adjustments, make sure you're taking a minute to scan first. I notice myself, I do this a lot. Like, I just kind of go back and forth. You've been doing it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just nice because it's constantly changing those pressure points.
Yep.
I think that's why you do it. Your body is just saying, hey, this way it's more comfortable. And that's not much. It's probably not going to bust you. But all that stuff, you just need to be more conscious of it. And when you're going to make big movements, make sure you're looking around. You know, just like going back to the ropes. If that rope was just laying there, right? Yep. Straight up and down, probably be fine.
Yep.
But it wasn't.
Nope, it was hanging.
And it was hanging and it was swinging because you were moving.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%.
So,
Thanks for making me relive that one more time.
And because it was hanging and swinging, you shot right over him.
That's exactly what it is.
Last one is practice.
Practice.
We're talking about practice.
We talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
Talking about practice.
It's practicing shooting the bow
Yeah, shooting the
from
bow.
the saddle. Practicing
Climbing
getting up
the tree.
Yeah, climbing a tree. This is so. How many years have you been saddle hunting now?
I think this would be just my 3rd season. I think I only had 1 season on you, maybe a season and a half.
Right. So, somewhat experience of saddle hunters, but yet the first time getting up in a saddle every year seems to be like you forgot a little bit of what you've done.
Or something. Like
Something. So if you aren't getting out to a tree prior to season and at least practicing your system, I'm not going to say guarantee, but pretty much guarantee something's going to be forgotten. You're going to have a rough time the first time you get in the tree when you're just going to hunt.
yeah. Because I still forgot to set up my tree tether first. I set up my bow, my strap, and then it was a pain because I had to weave it around there. And so, yeah, everything's the same, but unless you do it a few times, it's still practice.
We're talking about practice.
You gotta practice. So that's huge. And honestly, after you've been doing it for a couple of seasons, it only takes a couple times, but it's fun. Anyway, it's
yeah, it's fun. Gets you
carve
in
out
the
some
mood.
time.
Gets you in the deer hunting mood. Gets you in the killing mood.
Mm-hmm.
You know. The other thing would be the angles of not just practicing your main shot, but the angles of all shots. Right.
Right.
So obviously, you have your main shot coming right off to your dominant side, but what about moving your body on an angle like Jay's gonna show? I think.
Yeah, I'll get there. This bow hook here, I like to put, I like to put it in the middle, the hook. Just found that it comes on and off a little bit easier when you're in the moment. So, pop it off. Boom. This should be your easy shot. We got a block over here. This should be your money shot. So, we're only 10-15 yards here. But I'm a little torqued, so it's definitely not like shooting on the ground. You got to get used to this.
Exactly what you need to do prior to saddle hunting, in my opinion. You have to practice from the saddle.
Yep. Climb the tree. I can tell you that most of the time I can get around the tree far enough this way that I'm shooting pretty dominant. So I'm going to shoot around the tree basically from there, because this is the way I want to hold it, to like back in here.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of my dead zone where you get a little nervous is going to be like this angle for me, which is pretty small. Like, it's possible. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. I've actually practiced, I like going over and just shooting right over. And I can hit this pretty good right in here. But where it's tricky is if that target, this is what I don't understand. Everyone's like, oh, you can go all the way around the tree. It's not usually necessary. Like, I can come around far enough this way to hit that, and then I can come over here far enough this way to hit that same spot. So
when it comes to practice, shoot your angles. Shoot from the saddle. I'm gonna shoot because
practice. Because we're talking about practice. And we're up in the tree, so you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna practice. We're also gonna practice shooting the deer with the camera facing your buddy's tree, because we just killed buck of a lifetime and it's not on film. How do you feel about that?
Still got the deer. Oh, GoPro.
The GoPro is right there. The GoPro is right there.
Listen, but
this buck of a lifetime is over there.
I spined him, so he's right there.
Oh yeah, he's right there. Let's get him suffering on YouTube. That'll get us monetized for sure. My goodness.
I hit the bullseye though. Just saying.
Yep, that's true. So you're aiming for the spine.
If you focus on your adjustability, Focus on your system, practice from the saddle, conceal your movement. You're gonna kill a deer this year.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed our mistake. I wouldn't say podcast, but let's just say we wanted to talk about it, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys go down below, like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see a little more of our talks here in the tree.